Hey, it's Dr. Scott Dunaway with Cairo Strength, and today we're going to discuss overhead stability and some different approaches to get there. Now, it's really important that this video is not going to be just a collage of exercises to get overhead stability. It's about the framework with which to use to achieve overhead stability. Underneath each of these umbrellas that we're going to talk about, there's going to be books upon books of exercises that you can use to get your specific limitations cleared so you can get overhead safely. There's going to be some that will work. Some of these exercises as examples that we give will work great for some of you, and if that's the case, fantastic. But if these specific exercises aren't reaching or not clearing up your specific limitations, you can still use this framework. So the framework that we're going to use is clearing mobility restrictions, then establishing good patterns and stability, and then translating that new mobility, that new stability into some more complex movements, and then getting time under tension in a good quality position to get that brain to lock in what that good overhead stability feels like. So under the umbrella of mobility, I'm going to discuss two different areas to look at. First is going to be thoracic spine mobility. Now, thoracic spine mobility, there's a lot of things in there. I'm going to actually link at the end of this video to a video that I posted recently over 5 different thoracic spine mobility drills. I could sit here and show you all of them, but that would be kind of redundant. So check out that video for thoracic spine mobility. It's super important for neck health, low back health, shoulder health, hip health, because if you're locked up between the shoulder blades here, it's going to require more mobility of the neck, more mobility of the back, and now those areas are going to have issues with stabilizing that increased movement and therefore increase your risk of injury. The other thing I'm going to talk about is clearing up this serratus and this lat using a foam roller. Now, in order to do this, what I'll do, I'll move my barbell here first, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll on the ground, trying to roll my lat from front to back first. Now, as I do this, I'm going to put my hand above my shoulder like this and just roll side to side, nice and slow. I'm not trying to roll the pain away as much as I'm just trying to rehydrate some tight tissue. Because after we get done rehydrating this tissue, kind of going from the base or kind of the crease of the armpit right here, all the way down here, well below the shoulder blade, I'm going to spend about 30 seconds to a minute doing that. Now to get the serratus and lat to kind of peel apart, I'm going to lay down, kind of lean into the stretch a little bit, so I'm kind of on the rib cage here, right to the side of the breast below the armpit, and I'm going to reach forward. That's going to create a little tug on my skin, and then I'm going to reach overhead as much as I can. When I encounter a good amount of resistance, I'm going to stop, come back, reach, come overhead. And now this is going to be a good release to get everything that's tied up below the shoulder release to allow you to get overhead. Now, if you just don't have the joint mobility in the shoulder to get overhead, being stable overhead is the least of your problems. You need to gain that mobility to get overhead first. But once you're able to get both arms overhead, biceps to ears without overextending, then we'll go to some more kind of greasing the groove of a good movement pattern and some good stability drills. Now, one of the stability drills that's real simple is just learning to pull with a band and get yourself in a good ending position. By good ending position, what I mean is that when I pull, I want to make sure we don't have this elevation of the shoulder like this. When we get elevation and anterior glide of the humerus right here, that's where a lot of issues come into play. Everything's going to lock down around that joint to decrease the injury risk, and now you're going to have a really hard time unlocking the pecs, unlocking the lats, unlocking a lot of these muscles that are going to cast that joint to protect it. So I start palm down. I'm kind of in an internally elevated position just to start in a poor position so you can kind of have a reference of where to get away from. As I kind of corkscrew my hand back to where now my palm's facing the ceiling and now my shoulder drops down into the pocket, I should be able to feel my lat, feel all this inferior musculature and posterior musculature of the back really locking that shoulder blade in, and I should feel that shoulder blade kind of come back towards the spine like this. We call that retraction. Now I'm just going to hold this position for a little while so I can feel these muscles work, and I should be able to feel a nice, good, soft upper trap in this position. And I'm just going to work about 1 minute to 2 minutes of getting nice, good activation of these muscles down here versus keeping these muscles nice and relaxed. And I'll do a couple different variations to where I'm pulling straight ahead, and then I might pull out to the side a little bit. Same thing, trying to keep the shoulder depressed. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into some more challenging variations here. I'm going to start in the overhead position, pretending like we're going to get into the snatch position. So not directly overhead, but that's going to be something we can kind of progress to. This is going to include both the retraction, the external rotation, and the elevation necessary to get overhead. And it's going to kind of uncouple all those movements so you can feel the stability in each movement. And then we're going to just spend some time overhead. So what we're going to do first is we're going to retract our shoulder so we make sure that's not kind of hanging off the thorax here. Externally rotate. Make sure we get a good, nice 90 degrees without needing to extend the back like this. So all of that motion coming from the humerus. Again, we should still have a nice, good, relaxed upper trap. And then I'm going to push out into overhead position here and let myself just kind of hang out here for a good 10 seconds before I reverse back down and then let it go. And again, I'm probably going to do that for about 5 to 7 reps or about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. Now let's say we can't get overhead right away. There's a few things that we can do. We can use a barbell here and work with landmine presses, which won't get us completely overhead, but will allow us to kind of work those same muscles as far as trying to make sure we keep a nice, good, activated inferior musculature here, the shoulder blade, and keep the upper trap out of it. And we can just work some landmine presses, scooting in every once in a while as we begin to increase our range of motion. But one of the best things here, if we're having trouble getting overhead, is just spend some time hanging. And as long as you don't have acute damage to the shoulder, hanging and spending a good amount of time hanging will allow yourself to kind of open up a lot of this stuff. And then you can start implementing some of these stability and integrative type movements to help yourself get overhead. Now, again, just a quick review. The umbrella of mobility, lots of things you can do. The umbrella of stability, lots of things you can do. The umbrella of integrating these new mobility and stability drills, there's tons of things you can do with that. So as long as you use those 3 things in those orders, it's a good roadmap for you to start figuring out what type of routine is going to be good for you to reach or achieve overhead stability. And if you have any questions, I'd like to be able to help you out. You can always reach me at drdunaway@chirostrength.com. Comment on this video. I'll see what else I can do for you as far as putting out some more content to answer some of your questions. And again, this is Dr. Dunaway at Chiro Strength saying, don't just mend, transcend. Thanks.